Cheers.
Cheers. The actual idea for where the story came from, that came about from this kind of 3-day span where I would come home from work and I would drink a lot. Like, it's not, I wasn't an alcoholic or anything at the time, but I was just indulging in whiskey to the point where my brain was a bit looser. And after turning down about 5 or 6 rough ones, I had this crazy idea to kind of memento a story and take it backwards, all, in the same fashion as Memento. There's other stories that have done the same idea, but I really liked his way of breaking it down into scenes and how each scene was almost this chapter that could step back. And from that, I derived a very Southern Ontario, very local-based story about the craziness that could possibly happen within this region. At the top, I'm not talking about the crazy mobsters we see running the downtown streets of Toronto. These are little fish in even smaller ponds that are acting like big fish. And I think that was the aspect I really wanted to go at and dive into. But, as I said, it was this backwards mentality that really kept the progress of the project, running.
Hey, Shad.
So the typical shoot would either be at, mainly it would be at either our house, which played about 6 different sets given what floor, what room you were on, or Josh's house.
We spent months planning what weekend we were going to do in pre-production for what scene we were doing on each weekend, because we had actors and actresses coming from out of town. We only had a limited amount of time and finances to bring these actors and actresses in to get it done. So we spent a good 8 to 12 months planning. We made sure that we had the call sheets all ready. We had scripts for the day printed out for each scene, so that when the day came, it was very much, okay, here's their gear list, we have everything in the car, let's go to the scene, we can start filming ASAP.
Our highest shooting day, we had slotted 96 shots for one single day of filming. And it just seemed like this giant mountain we could never overcome. We probably shaved it down to maybe about 88 or something like that. Well, there's a bunch of pros and cons to actually distributing on YouTube. I mean, I think it's a reality check that a lot of people need to take. Many people will spend so much time and so much money into something that they need to sell it on Vimeo. It has to be, I have to see some profit back in some form. And for us, we really had this double-sided way of dealing with not only finances, but making it through the whole thing and having some kind of fallback.
Just by being a regular video on YouTube, people can see, oh, what's this? Look at what you have become. Oh, let's check this out. Without even knowing what it is, and they're sucked into this gripping 17-part crime drama.
And there's no risk. I wasn't afraid. I didn't have to make cliffhangers every single episode just to be sure I could keep, airing. I knew I had the control over everything, and that's an amazing ability that we've been given in this time we're living in. So when I actually started this whole process all those months ago, I really have to admit that I did not fully believe it would even really be filmed, that it would even really be released. There's so many variables at so many points along the way. And I think more than a mini-series, Look What You Become is a year of my life and a year's worth of lessons and framing and directing. And especially after leaving something like college, maybe working on a film or two, there can definitely be a huge slump. And for me, Look What You Become, more than creating something, was a sign that I was a creator. And I think that's something that every single filmmaker needs to at least face themselves with. For me, I needed to take another path, and I needed to know I could shoot before giving any more of my life. And what I'm really trying to say is when it hits that depressing patch and when you think that you can't go on any further, try and pull a look what you become. Because in the end, you'll never end up regretting the content you've produced. As shitty as it might turn out, as much as it may not be your vision, I don't truly believe you'll ever regret the content you've produced, because to me it's more than 3 hours of YouTube clips online. To me, it was a gigantic stepping stone in not only my future, but my career path, and at least knowing what I want to do. So if anybody out there in any way is thinking of doing some kind of project like this, just grab the bull by the horns, be as prepared as possible, and knock it out of the park.
Cheers.
That's all I got.
Cheers.
Thanks. Oh, okay.